Hi there, it's Catherine from Sunnyside Journals. I'm here with part 5 of making a junk journal out of a book called Infelice. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning and following along, welcome back. I will put the links to the first 4 parts down below, so in case you are new here and you'd rather start at the beginning, you'll find them down there. This is the little book that we're working on. This lovely little book is almost 100 years old. She was printed in 1920. So she's actually in lovely shape for almost 100 years old. I hope I'm doing this good if I make it to 100. And we've already reinforced the spine and chosen our fabric and that's going to go in that, but that's for later. Right now we're working on papers. We chose our books that we're going to pull from. And what I want to do now is I had decided previously that I'm going to do 5 signatures in this book. And I usually like to put in 5 leaves per signature. And when I say a leaf, for me, I don't know if it's the correct term. It's the term that is stuck in my head, and I've decided not to fight it. So this is what I consider a leaf. Some people call it a spread. For me, it just sticks in my head, leaf. So if you hear me talking about a leaf, what I'm talking about is the folded full piece of paper that becomes part of a signature, which is a bundle of these papers. Infelice is going to have hopefully 5 signatures with 5 leaves in each, which means I'm going to need 25 leaves. This can change. Nothing's cast in stone until she's all sewn together. So you can switch it up. If you decide that 5 leaves makes her too bulky, take some of them out, or go down to 4 leaves in each if you want more balance. If you find that once you've got them all folded together and you seem to have more room, you could add more to those leaves. It's not cast in stone. This is what I'm starting from, my starting place. I want the new owner to have lots of writing space. It's a lovely book, and I really want, I'm a journal writer, so I want the new owner to have lots of plain pages that are easy to write on. And then I also want 10 pages from book sources. I call them sort of busy pages. They're harder to write on, but because of that, they also they add variety, they add interest, they really make a book, a junk journal, more charming. So you really want to include them, and they can be used to mount your collages onto if you're working on it, your memorabilia, tuck spots. There's a lot you can do even with a busy page that you can't write on. And if you find that there's too many if the new owner finds there's too many plain pages, they can jazz those up as they like. So this is just my starting point. What I do with a book is I find I do not go by what the original size is on when you pull out one of the leaves from the book you're working on, because they bind their book much tighter than well, certainly myself. I don't know about you, but I cannot bind a book with that many pages that tight. I purposefully want it looser because I want to be able to include stuff. So you don't want the same size paper. If you go with the same size, you're going to find at the end your papers are going to be sticking out the end. They're going to be too big. I usually will take away 1/8 of an inch from the length and from the width, and then that gives me a little bit more of a buffer zone for when I sew in my signatures, and they'll fit nicely within the insides of the cover. So that's what I've already done. I've already done the measuring, and I need my leaves that I'm going to be cutting to be, for Infelice, 7 1/8 by 9 1/2. Some of them can be smaller, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I got a head start. This is my 3rd try doing this video. My phone is acting up again. It's not even an old phone. I have a Samsung S9 Plus, but it does not like recording videos. And when I try to record videos, it is confusing what I'm doing, and it's filling up my memory, even though there's nothing there, because as soon as I upload to YouTube, I delete it off of my phone, but my phone doesn't seem to know that, and it just wants to hoard everything that it thinks is in the memory that really isn't in the memory. And I know I've got to take it in and get it looked at, but I don't want to do that yet. So this is my third try. And hopefully the three times is the charm, right? So I already actually have what I consider my plain papers cut. And I'm sorry, I really did do it on camera, and it disappeared into the universe. So I consider these plain because it's easy to write on. There's lots of blank space. Sometimes, you know, this is blank music paper. That's still writable. You can still write on that. Same with ledger paper. Ledger paper is one of my favorites because you can write in any direction. So these are all tea stained. Again, this, although it's got stuff on it, I consider this a plain page because it's mostly blank, plenty of room for writing a journal entry. I left this piece of ledger paper long because I think I'm going to fold these in and have little flip outs, but I'm not sure yet, and I want to leave that option open to me. And same with this guest book insert. I definitely am going to sew it in like this, and then I'm going to fold in the sides so that I'll either make it into a tuck spot or I will leave it as a floppy open. Not sure yet. I can decide that later. And I always like, it's just a little thing I love doing because I think it really looks charming. I like making a file folder into the front page of one of my signatures, usually the center one. As I said earlier, I like to do odd numbers of signatures in my books. So this one's going to have 5. So this will go in the third signature right in the center of the book. And it just looks really cute because the way I measure it, I like part of that little tab to stick out a bit. So when I'm done, it should look close to like that, so that it's a little bit intriguing, just sitting there in the middle of the book. So I always do that, or I almost always do. I love doing it. All right, so those are our plain ones. I'm going to put them aside for now. I've had them in my book press, so they're lovely and non-bulky anymore. I really, really, really encourage you to make yourself a sea lemon book press. Again, I'll put the instructions and the link for Sea Lemon's YouTube channel. Sorry, I'm way back here. I'll put the link down there. It really, with the ingredients, the pieces from a Dollarama and from a hardware store, you can make that book press probably for $8 or less. And it's well worth it. I've been using mine all the time now. I changed my mind about this recipe that I initially thought I was going to put in. I don't like it anymore. And yeah, I'm allowed to do that. So again, I got started on cutting these. And this spread is going to need to be glued because in order to get all of that in, I had to cut separate pages. So we're going to be gluing that together and creating a new fold for it. The Edith Holden pages have been folded and are ready to go. They're not quite as wide as they should be, but I'm not worried because, let me find, of course my template is missing. Jeepers, I do this to myself all the time. Here, this will work. They're not quite as wide as they should be. Here you can see they're maybe about 1/8 of an inch short. But because they're so nice and thick, these are really nice to put lace on the edge. They can hold the lace easily. So I don't mind that they're a bit shorter because I'm probably going to put lace on the edges of these. So I'll put those aside. my Sears Roebuck page, I've left this side long because I either want to just fold it in as a flip out, or else I am going to fold it in and make a tuck spot. So I may glue that down, or I might sew the edge, because this is all about dressmaking goods. So I'm probably going to take this over to my machine at some point and just run a zigzag stitch down here, and then probably going to fold it over, make a little tuck spot, and that'll really look cute. Let's get you out of the way. Roses I trimmed down to the right size. They're ready to go almost. I don't like how this feels. It's old paper. It's older paper, and it doesn't feel very strong, so I'm going to reinforce that as well. Here's our dictionary page. I've already trimmed it. It's ready to go, and it has Infelice there, so that's ready to go. Here's 2 more pages from that antique book that are going to need to have a fold created on it. The page from the crochet book, I was able to fit both the little adorable young couple here and the title there. And I think what I'm going to do, it's not wide enough. I'll show you here. If I open up this spread that's the right width, you'll see that First Love is not wide enough. But this was from the bottom, you can see here. And this was from the top. And I'm thinking I can glue this one right along that edge and bring it out to how wide I need it to be. And that'll look cute. I'm trying to decide whether I just want to glue it or whether I want to sew it. This is a crochet pattern, so adding some thread to it might be nice. But on the other hand, this is already busy, so I'm not sure I want to complicate it with thread. I'm going to think about that, and we'll get to that in a second, and then I'll be able to fold it right in half when we're done with that. Because I decided to chuck this recipe, I wanted to find another recipe, and I have a really, really cool old cooking book, and I decided this book takes place in the Old South, so I'm putting biscuits in this book. Oh yes. Again, this is a very, very old book. The papers, although they feel fine, I don't trust the old fold. So we're going to fortify that old fold. I realized that I'd forgotten to choose some music to put in to Infelice. And so I took the liberty of going through my music papers. I found an old book from 1930 from the Royal Conservatory of Toronto. And I thought this was just perfect because in the beginning of this book, the main character, Regina, or Regina, however you pronounce it. I live in Canada and we have a city named Regina, so I pronounce it Regina. I thought that was perfect. Once there was a little princess, and even on the other side, it's also perfect, the new doll. So, again, I've left it optional. I'm not sure what I want to do, whether I want to make a pocket, whether I want to make a flip out, or whether I simply want to trim it off. Too many flip outs and pockets can bulk up your book, but I want to leave that option open. So that's pretty well ready to go. I'm going to put that on the side here with the ones that are pretty well ready to go. And we're going to work on these ones today and just give them new folds. So I'm hopefully going to get that done before my battery dies. And if my battery dies and it suddenly ends, I apologize, but I'm not starting over again. There will be no take 4 of part 5. This is it. So let's get started. We need, this one is the easiest. Let's start on First Love. And I've decided, I've made an executive decision, and I'm just going to glue that on. I don't want to sew it on. So I'm going to get out my trusty art glitter glue, because this one is my go-to safe glue. It holds in place boy, does it hold. Now, sometimes if I don't want to deal with, oh, sorry for my elbow in the screen there. Sometimes if I'm worried about blotches, I'll just take a Q-tip and I'll do a quick blend down there so that I can already prevent blops. Is that an official journaling term? Blop. And we'll get you into place. You have a very short period of time with art glitter glue. It adheres very quickly. So you need to be quite certain that you've placed your paper for sure where you want it, because that will hold, and that will hold forever, I think. They've come up with an amazing glue. I'm going to erase that. You can see my little pencil mark from where I was measuring before. That's good, and then we'll just need to trim that off. Now, big old bulky Fiskars, but you can't go wrong with it. I know where this one cuts. There we go. Ta-da! Nope, not happy with you. Yeah, I was just saying I know where it cuts, and it still left me a little bit of a lip. And I'm too fussy for my own good. But now I'm happy. All right, you out of the way, Fiskars. All right, so now that that's much better. And I'm going to fold you. Okay. Let's see if we've got that right. We do. Beautiful. Oh, I'm very happy with that. So that's a nice size. It's actually from that page, so it looks nice. I may run some rickrack down there, or maybe a little piece of ribbon down there later, but I can do that later. All right, so here we go. This page needs a new, and this one. These are from the same book, so we might as well get them done. Now, what paper do I want to use? Sometimes I want to use fun paper, and sometimes I just use the paper that was the offcut from this, and I'm not sure whether I saved it or not. Sometimes I also will use washi tape. Maybe I'll use a bit of washi tape. I always forget I've got washi tape. It's not my big, huge favorite thing that I know a lot of junk journalists really, really love their washi tape. And when I see what they do with their washi tape, yes, it's beautiful. And I wish I would remember to use it, but I forget it's over there. And then later I think, oh rats, I should have put washi tape on it. I love this one. This is one of my favorite washi tapes. Now, as most of you know, washi tape is designed to be removable. It's not meant to be permanent. So it's best to back up your washi tape with some kind of glue, whether it's glue stick. Come on, you. I'm not used to working on camera. This is why I don't do craft along with me. There we go. Okay. And of course now I'm reminded that I don't have any paper underneath me, and this glue is going to go right onto my table. That's okay. Notice I've left a little bit of space there. I want it to be able to fold. So, and I just eyeball this. It doesn't have to be accurate. It's going to be in your fold. Tiny, oh, that moved. You moved, you little bum. Hold on, hold on. There we go. Plop her down. There, that's good enough. All right, And then this side, again, I'll just, I'm going to glue this off camera. It's easier. My camera hangs right under my nose. So, because today I feel like standing up. My back has been bothering me. So today I'm working standing up. And because of that, my camera isn't over my head. It's under my nose. And that's a nuisance. There we go. Now again, you'll notice here that my washi tapes don't match up. See how the underneath one is a little to the left here? That won't matter. You won't ever see it because it's going to be folded and be viewable from a completely different side. You're never going to see that that's there. You simply want that to be, to fortify this area down here where it wasn't stuck together. So just trim that off and trust me, you'll see when it's folded, all you're going to see is beautiful flowers. All right, that one's ready. I'm going to pause this because I don't know how much time I'm going to have, and I'm going to do the same thing with these ones right now, and you just don't need to see that twice and 3 times. So give me a second and I'm going to pause. Okay, so I have fortified those folds. Actually, I've done it in a couple of ways, so I'm going to show you what I've done. We did the washi one, and then I decided to use some offcuts from pages that I've already trimmed. When I use paper to fortify a page, I don't do both sides. There's no need. This is a full intact piece of paper that's strong and new, and it does not need to be doubled. And that will only add bulk to your book if you think about it. If you double that up, I should have run this through my little folder thing, but we'll just make do. Yeah, there's just no need to double up. If you're using relatively new paper, first of all, and it doesn't have holes in it, it hasn't been previously used in a fold, you'll be fine. And it again will never show because the pages are going to be flipped. This page is going to be possibly the first. You're going to go through 3 more leaves before you get to this side. You're not going to see that it's not matchy-matchy. And I wanted this to look clean and pretty because I love that biscuits page. Did the same thing here. I've used an offcut from the actual page that was trimmed off from over here. And I've just used one side. So I'm just going to find that where that is. There we go. And give that a little fold. Come on, you. Behave. Thank you. And I'm going to just give that just a tiny bit of a press down so that Rose's is fortified. It's a similar color, and it just camouflages in. Now I did something a little different here with this page for a loaf of bread and hyacinths. I have a paper cutter that I actually wish I'd never bought, but I've got it now and it's not going back. Why do I keep doing that? Its only redeeming quality really is that it has this wavy option for when I slice papers. And sometimes I like that. And because I think that's pretty and I wanted it to show up more, I used my distress ink on it. So this one I actually am going to, you get out of there. I'm going to put you through my little scoring board. There we go. There we go. And again, I've only fortified one side. I don't want to bulk this up. This is going to be so deeply into the fold, you're not going to notice that that it hasn't been fortified on two sides. But there's enough of a little detail on this side that looks pretty. So there we go. We've got our busy papers, as I like to call them. The ones that need new spines, or the ones that need their old spines fortified, are all fortified. They're good to go. We have our plain papers good to go. And in the next installment, we're going to put them together and create our 5 signatures. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.